This is Trillium from Trillium Healing Arts. I'm an emotion code, Reiki, and quantum healing hypnosis practitioner. Today I'm going to be expanding on the topics of individuation, authenticity, and also using your sexual energy for creativity. But first, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So I had been going through a super deep dive, especially the Scorpio season, but almost over the past 2 years of working through my blocks, my negative self-beliefs, early childhood emotions, emotions from previous relationships, unforgiveness, so many things, removing energetic daggers, and I didn't know how powerful that was going to be. I actually felt like, compared to how I am now, I felt like I had this like weighted blanket on me. I felt like I was going through life dull. And so, why this happens is because when you undergo so much trauma or pain and negativity, your body just kind of shuts down. You're kind of just in not necessarily in autopilot, but it's like you're wearing a wetsuit. It's an analogy that I like that I've heard is when you remove your heart wall and your emotional blocks, it's like you're out in the world without your armor. Or someone said, it's like you go through a tough time and you're in the ocean, you have that wetsuit, but you don't need it when you're going around every single day. And so I believe that was what was happening to me. So after so many years of things, I don't know at what point exactly, but I think my fire diminished, or it was just, there were still those little sparks deep down. But after taking and removing all of these things, I felt it start to rekindle the spark in me. And I even saw this in my mind's eye as like a dragon that was sleeping. I had been so far removed from my power, and part of that power is my ability to feel my anger and in turn my passion. And so, and to even block myself off from my sexuality. Judging myself and suppressing it and fragmenting myself, my darker and my lighter self. And I think that really got in the way of me being my fullest and truest expression. And so, touching upon the idea of authenticity, we in society, in order to function collectively together, we have to wear masks in certain areas, and that's just the way it is. You don't reveal everything to everyone, and that's okay. But when it becomes so far swung in the other direction, such as people pleasing or adapting the way you show up in it can come to a point of manipulation and narcissism. So it's very important to find that sweet spot and that balance. But a lot of the times, maybe not in the case of narcissism. I think in narcissism, and that's a strong word, I don't throw it around, but narcissistic tendencies, you can, it becomes a manipulative tactic to do what is best, to have the upper hand, versus I think that in the other direction, being fearful of being rejected or not accepted, or just wanting love and wanting to be admired. So it can swing. It's not all black and white. It's a very gray area. But the key to moving past this fear, which usually involves judgment and programming from when we were younger, is challenging those views and beliefs and those voices in our head, and those feelings of shame, and really sitting with them and working through them and sending your inner child love, forgiving the people that have judged you, forgiving yourself too for allowing their judgment to affect you. And it's really okay. We're human, we have emotions, but as we evolve and we grow, learning not to identify with those emotions and simply observe those emotions and hold space for them and send them love is super important. Okay, so I touched upon a little bit individuation, me going through my healing process, bringing my light goddess self and my dark goddess self, or my light feminine energy, my dark feminine energy. And we have both masculine and feminine, no matter what gender or sex you are. And so, you know, I think I rejected so many parts of myself because I wanted to appear in a certain way to have love. And what I realized is my own love is what's important, the self-love and the self-compassion. I don't need to, I think in the past in relationships, I dialed down or conformed or diminished my light in order to make them feel safe. And I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not, you know, showing up as just a small version of myself to make someone who can't handle me feel safe. With all my creativity and my power and my sexual energy, I'm not going to do that again. So, and it's okay. We grow older, we learn lessons, hopefully, and we go in cycles. Life is not linear. So now that I'm more mature and I have more skills and I know how to manage my emotions better, I think it's going to be much better. But back then, say, you know, when I could feel my anger so intensely and like acting out in the moment, that could be very toxic. So this time I kind of had a knee-jerk reaction when someone attacked my friend for voting opposite, you know, and I voted opposite of my friend during the election, but I still loved them. And they attacked me for being a sympathizer with a colonist. But, you know, I think we're all going to have different opinions, and completely attacking one another for not agreeing is unacceptable. It's just a part of life. So I kind of lashed out, but I pulled back and I realized, like, okay, that's not okay. Luckily, it was only on the internet and not in person. So I'm going to have to work to handle all of these new, you know, because I can really feel my emotions now. Before, I was just so blocked off and disconnected from them. And also from my sexuality, judging it. I have a lot of creative energy and a lot of sexual energy, but I didn't want to, you know, be overtly sexual, especially because of the work that I do. It involves working with people in highly vulnerable situations, sometimes where they're just unclothed under sheets. And I didn't want to put out that type of energy, especially not all the time in those situations. I wanted to create containers, and I didn't want to give people the wrong impression. So I think I suppressed and hid my sexuality a lot in order not to give anyone the wrong idea, you know. And this is because I wasn't powerful in exerting my boundaries. But as I learned to be more comfortable with saying no and exerting my boundaries, I didn't feel the need to hide as much anymore, which is where I'm at right now. Having brought light to all my shadow aspects, not all, this is obviously a lifetime journey, and I'm going to be doing this as I go deeper and deeper into the journey. But I feel like I'm showing up so much more open than I was before. You know, I can even notice just in my eyes, I feel like the light and the spark has come back. You know, I felt a little like dead, and you know, which is crazy. So I'm really excited about that. And also, I have to say, like, I have been doing a much cleaner high raw food diet, eliminating as many processed foods and grains as I can, primarily like fruits, veggies, greens. And I've had so much energy, as well as taking more B vitamin and C vitamin. I can't even sleep sometimes. I wake up at like 5 a.m. to record before the dogs and the constructions go. And luckily, I'm so amped. And also matcha. I love matcha. But thank you so much for tuning in. Before I wrap up, I want to also just touch back on, yes, our creative energy. When we can create a baby, we can actually channel that into art, into drive, into writing, into some form of expression. It's very powerful, not to subdue it. And a lot of people distract themselves with porn, but I'm just saying you can actually channel it. Check out Mantak Chia. He's great at instructing this, and transmute it into whatever you'd like to accomplish or express or attract. So thank you once again for tuning in. Please subscribe. Sending you love and light.